All right, so Sam, as you know, this season on the podcast, I am giving everybody a little bit of time to do a presentation to make the episode their own.
Yeah.
Now is the time for your presentation. What do you got for me today?
All right. So I did my presentation. This is what I would want to do with each PRFF member on my last day on Earth. So, I guess related to Romeo and Juliet, Romeo died. So let's just think about me dying. What would I want to do with everybody on my last day on Earth? So I've got four things I want to do with everybody. So let's get started. All right. So Zach Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I want to do is enjoy listening to him laugh. Zach's got a great laugh that's very contagious. Cannot get enough of that.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to watch all the Bruce Campbell movies with him and quote things like "This is my boomstick," just constantly over and over. Zach, big Bruce Campbell fan, so let's do something like that and just have fun with it. Eat some really delicious burgers. Flashback to End of the Bloodline 2. We made some burgers in that, and they're delicious. Zach knows a good burger just as much as I do, so let's eat some burgers. Then the last thing that I'd like to do with Zach is make him feel bad one last time for messing up my near perfect game of Werewolf at P4FF. So
Let it go.
I still haven't gotten over that. Over that, Zach. Yeah.
No, the redemption happened. You got Healer at Party Room 5. No.
I did, but I still want to make him feel bad for it because it's fun.
And just real quick, to put this in the context, you want to make him feel bad right before you die. So
exactly.
There's not a I forgive you before I leave. It is just okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like, Zach, I want you to remember. I want this to be your last thought of me before I pass. It's like, well, if only I had been able to not mess up Sam's game, maybe I wouldn't have died. So yeah,
man.
So there you go, Zach. That's what I'm gonna do my last day on Earth with you.
There we go.
All right. Next up, we got Josiah Downey.
Mm-hmm.
So Josiah, I'm just going to get some Crank and Boom ice cream and just chat. Josiah and Melissa love Crank and Boom, so anytime we go visit them, we always bring them some Crank and Boom. So yeah, that's one thing that we do. I want him to supervise me while I build something and then have him make fun of the results. I don't actually want his help. I just want him to watch me do it. Yeah. As a supervisor myself, I know that what a supervisor does, you just sit around and watch people do their job and like tell them what to do without actually doing it yourself. And I know that I'm not very good at building stuff, so I'd love to hear his thoughts on my horrible building. I'd want to make him tell me why my original End of the Bloodline 2 would have been a good idea to make. So he was the one that originally like talked me down off of that. But I want him to just flip the script. I want him to tell me why I should have done it instead of why not to do it. And then lastly, I want to do anything to make him so angry that he loses his temper and tells me off, but only because I've never seen him mad. So it's just never seen Josiah mad. Have you ever seen him mad ever? No. Exactly. So like it just be like I might be the only person to ever see that.
Yeah.
So having that distinct honor right before I die would be something that I would just literally take to the grave with me.
Real quick before we move on, Crank and Boom or Graders? Which one's better?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I know Crank and Boom is specifically like, you pair that with Josiah, like you have that Synapse bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
But just generally Josiah out of it. Crank and Boom or Graders?
Man, that's tough. I might have to say Crank and Boom. I know Ellen's gonna be a little disappointed in that because Graders is Cincinnati, but Graders is good. But I think what puts Crank and Boom over the top for me is when you walk into the Crank and Boom, specifically the one in the distillery district. The smell in there is just so heavenly. And I think their ice cream's a little bit softer than Grader's as well. But I'd had to go slight edge to Crank and Boom over Grader's. But yeah, that is a tough question. All right, Mitchell Judy.
That picture.
Yeah.
Sorry. What is this picture from? Do you know?
So this picture is from Tag Weekend at Asbury. So we all, me and Mitch, we transferred in together. We were both in the same transfer tag group. And one of the events that they had during Tag Week was like a redneck day. And so like all the different tag groups were like supposed to dress up like redneck and whatnot. And so our group, like we all went to Goodwill and just bought a bunch of stuff. I actually don't think Mitchell had to buy a lot of stuff. I think those are just his original clothes. But there's I'm actually on the other side of him in this picture. Which I'll see if I can find it. And send it to you. But yeah. But that's what that's from.
That just does not look like him. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah. No, you're good. So at this point, people have probably had the time to read this already. But the first thing I'd do with Mitchell on my last day, give him encouragement for being the awesome dad and husband that he is, and tell him that I'm proud to have him as a best friend. So yeah, no, Mitchell's a great dad, great husband. Not to me, to dad to August and husband to Holly, of course. But he's really good at that. And love having him as a best friend. So Mitch and I get into all sorts of shenanigans, and it's just been great to have him by my side the last 10 or so years, 11 years actually. All right, next thing, go on any crazy adventure with him and vlog it. We've done a few of those. I think most notably the Goose House that we went and saw. The first one we ever did was a search for a washer and dryer at this beach house that we were staying at. We walked all around the neighborhood and even down to the beach, only to find out that the washer and dryer was just like on the back porch. So I can't remember if that one's out anywhere, but that was like our first vlog that we did, and it was really fun. But
classic damage.
Any adventure that you can go on with Mitch is definitely worth the time. Play another round or two of Gun Game and Call of Duty. So were you ever around when me and Mitchell did this on the hall?
No. What is Gun Game?
So Gun Game is a game in Call of Duty where you've got like 20 different weapons, and the goal is to kill the other person with each weapon. And so it levels you up. So like I don't remember like all the different guns or weapons, but you start out with like the lowest of the low, and then like the weapons get increasingly better, I guess, the more kills you get. And then you also have like your knife that you can carry around and like stab people with it. And like if you stab somebody and kill them that way, then they go down a level, like they'd go down a gun. But me and Mitchell played it all the time, and I usually won. And if you know Mitchell, you know how loud he can get, or how loud he used to be able to get. But he would get really loud when we were playing this on the hall. When I would kill him, he would shout and be really loud, and it was really funny. Or like if he ever shot me, he would laugh really loud. So we had a lot of good times playing it. Some of the more tenured people from Nerd would know what those games were like, because they could definitely hear every little bit of them. Was that a good enough description for you?
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. And the last thing, I want to read a book of all of his horrible hot takes, so I might die a little quicker. Yeah, really curious to see what Mitchell's hot take is for my episode. But whatever it is, I'm sure it's wrong. But yeah, his takes are just so bad sometimes that like I think if I read a whole book of them, I think I probably would die
a little bit quicker. Just push you over the edge.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, Andrew King. All right, so I want to listen to him talk about anything he loves. If fewer people are as passionate and knowledgeable about the things they find interesting than Andrew is. So like when we went to DC and hung out with him, just listening to him talk about like U.S. history and explain like what was going on and like some of the paintings that we were looking at, it was really cool just to like learn that, because you can tell that he just knows so much about it and really enjoys it. And the way that comes across when he's talking about it, I just think is super interesting. And it helps me to like be interested in it as well. So anything that he loves, except for the Eagles, not the Eagles, but anything else, just sit me in a room with Andrew and let him chat for a little bit. I want him to introduce me to Doug Burgum. So probably only something that Andrew will get, but good old Dougie B. What is he? North Dakota senator, South Dakota senator. Let me look this up so I can get it right. Doug Burgum, governor of North Dakota. So Doug Burgum, he was like a presidential candidate that he for the Republican Party, and at some point he like was playing basketball with other people and he like tore his Achilles, and then just like next day just like kept going, right? Kept doing the campaigns and whatnot. I just gained a lot of respect for him, and he just became my guy. So I would just, with Andrew working with the Senate, I think that he's got some connections and he can introduce me to Doug Burgum. Argue about anything just one last time. Love arguing with Andrew. Most of the time I'm right. But those arguments are always good. He likes to take it over the top with me. So super fun. Last thing, shave his head, make him eat Skyline, and force him to watch the entirety of Tusk. Just absolutely torture him just so I can watch it.
Well, I get the Skyline, I get the Tusk. What's the shave his head thing?
I just want to see.
Humiliation.
I just want to see what his head would look like.
I'm just curious what's under there.
Yeah. I mean, haven't you ever wondered what like different people would look like bald?
Yeah.
I think I would love to see Andrew bald, and then combine with the other two things. Like, like
make a good day.
Who doesn't want? Andrew walked out like halfway through Tusk. I don't even think he saw the walrus. And now, like, I understand it's a bad movie, but like, I really wanted to get his full reaction. I think that movie deserved his full attention, so he could hate it even more than he does. But just I'd love to see him watch the rest of it. All right, Jacob McGlone. Love this picture of you, by the way.
It's baby Jacob right there.
Yeah, it's a great shirt and a great tie.
Yep.
Travel the country with you while you work to keep you company. Feel like you're, I hate that you're like out there by yourself sometimes, but whenever you hop in like the general chat is really cool. Just to keep you a little bit of company. And just hang out, just be on the road with you, man. Want to go to a Tampa Bay Lightning versus Seattle Kraken NHL game. Watch the Kraken win. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Hockey is much better in person, isn't it, than it is on TV? So. Yeah.
I think that's all sports.
Yeah. You would be an absolute blast to go to a hockey game with. So I'd want to do that on my last day. Hopefully my last day gets scheduled on a day where they play.
Hopefully that works out.
Otherwise, I don't think we'd be able to organize that. I'd want to make a Metal Weird Solid sequel and have you play all the different snakes from the Metal Gear universe.
Okay.
So it'd be
How many snakes are there? This is out of my depth.
Oh, there's a bunch of them. Gosh. So there's Solid Snake, there's Liquid Snake, there's Solidus Snake.
So not like actual ones from the video game. This is
no, like they are from the video game.
What?
Yeah. So you got Solid Snake. So
okay.
Oh man, like I could go. It would take me a long time to really explain it all. But so originally, the origin of who Snake is,
right.
He basically infiltrated like a Russian base to take down a unit called like the Cobra unit, and so he was given the Operation Snake Eater, and so his code name for the mission was Snake. And so he was such like a good soldier that they cloned him, and they took all the positive traits of him, which became Solid Snake. They took all like the recessive genes of him, which became Liquid Snake, and then they took made a perfect clone of him, which was Solidus Snake.
Interesting.
And then there's also Venom Snake, who is like a decoy snake. And then I don't even know. There's a few others.
You got Muppet Snake. You got Dairy Free Snake.
Dairy Free Snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are several different snakes.
Okay.
In the Metal Gear universe. So I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun to like have you just play like all the different characters, and just be basically having a movie that's just all you. Lastly, I want to punch you in the face for every time you ask me how's the dog and did you get the Bugatti?
Did you get the Bugatti? Did you get the Bugatti?
Because neither of them are even jokes that you were around for, and you just carried on the tradition of Scott Stanley, and you didn't even know who this guy was.
Well, no, the dog was from Debo.
No, that was from Devo. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Bugatti.
But also, I was never in the room whenever he asked it.
My goodness,
it's so funny. Well, yeah, no, I have no defense. I just think it's funny.
Did you get the Bugatti? No, I did not get the Bugatti. The dog is fine. Quit asking. I'm gonna punch you in the face again.
And then whenever I was playing through Grand Theft Auto, I want you to know I was like farming for like 5 hours so I could get a Bugatti, just so I could send you that picture.
Oh my God.
Like, hey, I got the Bugatti.
You're the worst kind of person. You know that.
All right, I got a lot of face punches coming my way. That's
yeah,
fine.
you got a bunch. Cody Nels. All right. Get one last trademark Cody hug. Cody gives the best hugs, if you don't know. By far, like if we were ranking the hug givers from the party room directors, Cody would be number one, and then I don't even think anybody else would make the list. Yeah, sorry everybody else, but Cody gives great hugs, so I love that. I finally want to finish Code Geass with him. That's an anime that we started when we were rooming together with me, him, and Mitch, and we probably got like 15, 16 episodes in and just never finished it. So I don't know if I would have enough time in my final day on Earth to finish it, but we're going to give it a shot. Make my Humanimals script come to life. I realize that a lot of these are like things that only the person would get, but
cuts.
But whatever, yeah. So this is a script that I wrote for writing for media class. Basically, two people working at a zoo, a guy and a girl. The girl has a crush on the guy, but the guy's oblivious. And he's asking her for advice on how to like pick up women, and she gives him just like the worst advice intentionally. And Cody somehow ended up with a script. I mean, I guess I probably gave it to him, but he's talked about making it before, and he's talked about making it for Party Room too. But I'd like to see that come to life, because it actually made Prof Smart. It made Prof Smart say that it was like one of the funniest scripts that he'd ever read. Which if you know Prof Smart, then you know how big of a compliment that is. But yeah, so we do that. And then lastly, remind him one last time that Heather saw me half naked in my underwear before they got married.
What?
Yep, true story. Friday night during open dorm, I can't remember where I was getting back from, but I just got back to the dorm. The room was, the door was open. Cody was just there sitting on the couch. And so I just took my shirt off, took my pants off, was just going to switch into, like my pajamas. And then Heather just walked in, so she was over for open dorm and just walked in when I'm in my underwear. And I looked at her and it was like, oh, hey, Heather, like not thinking anything of like how much clothes I'm wearing or whatever. But just said, hi, Heather, continue on my business. And then like immediately was like, oh my gosh, like Heather's here. And like, we just like like Heather and I like shared a moment, right? We stared at each other like deep in the eyes for a good second, and then I hid in the closet, and she left so I could get dressed. But yeah, that was all before they got married, and it was a very weird moment.
I'm sure.
Right, Tanner Perkins. Yeah, I like this picture of Tanner. It's pretty good. Absorb all the positive energy. Tanner really is like one of the most positive people I've met. So on a day where I'm like about to die, like just get as much positivity in my life as I can. And Tanner's probably the best person to do that with. I want to watch all the Marvel movies with him and finally play the Spider-Man games for him. He loves those so much, and I don't really. But kind of what I was talking about with Andrew earlier, like I think one of the best ways to fall in love with something is to see somebody else love it. And so I'd really like to, like take some of the love that Tanner has for those things and learn to enjoy them with him.
Now, you are going to have to watch those movies at like 10 times speed.
That's true. Well, I mean, I've already seen them, so
okay.
I just don't really care for a majority of them.
Mhm.
And I bought the Spider-Man game, but I played a little bit of the first one. But I never actually finished it. But I know he really likes all those. He talks highly about them. So another thing, I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into how much time some of this would take. So maybe, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Apologize to and thank him for doing pretty much all the work on that one audio project we worked on together. I honestly don't remember like what I did on that project other than just let Tanner do all the work. In my defense, he volunteered because that was like his field, but I didn't really do anything. So sorry, Tanner, but thanks for doing that. Oh, if I did that, then I guess that means that I'm going to die today if I just did that. So
you also reminded Cody about the time that Heather saw you half naked in your underwear.
Well, I guess all of this podcast will come out post-mortem.
Let's not joke about that. Knock on wood.
Then laugh at the Cleveland Browns. They suck. It's just funny that they suck and that he's a fan of them. So haha, Tanner, the Browns, they stink. All right, Paul Sigler. Look at that. Just look at that picture.
Oh my god.
I know, right? I know. I want him to pray for my loved ones before I die. Just make sure they're taken care of. I think Paul would do. I think anybody here would really do a good job at that. But I'd like for Paul to do that as I'm on my deathbed. Sticking with the video game theme, I want to play just any of the Zelda games since I've never played them. I know Paul's a big fan of those, and so I want to be able to talk about him with those. Just some of the things that he likes about them, and figure out like what all the hubbub is. You ever played any of those games?
I have died in many of those games. Yes.
Oh, you've died in many of them? Cool. I've never once played one, obviously. But it would be fun. I want to watch a PG-13 movie with a bunch of dudes and have him walk in at the worst possible moment again.
Yeah.
That happened so many times. It was like, I don't think a sitcom writer could write any better how often that happened. Like there's no running joke that I can think of that's funnier than the real life Paul just walking in at the worst possible time. So I'd want to experience that again with him. And then lastly, for Paul, I want to find somebody who thinks he's ugly. I know it's impossible, but I'd want to try.
Yep.
Levi, great picture. Great picture of Levi here.
Oh, wow. Oh my, you're being such a savage right now. Some of these pictures are brutal, man.
I want to write and record a song about my life together. I think it'll be fun. Give Levi the creative liberties on what the song about my life would be like. Oh yeah, slides mess up a little bit. I want to play all the Pajama Sam games with him, and want to watch him play the Life is Strange game so I can finally get his opinions. It's been really cool to talk to Levi a lot on the chat, getting to know him better. And one night we were talking about games, and we had a lot in common actually with video games like Pajama Sam and Life is Strange, but he hasn't finished them yet. So Levi, I need you to do that hopefully before I die, because I want your
hasn't finished Pajama Sam yet.
Well, he's finished. No, he's finished Pajama Sam. I mean, like, I don't really know if you would say like finish those, because it's not like, I don't know. I mean, it's just like a computer game series.
That's such a nostalgic childhood. Like,
yeah. No, I mean the only one I've ever played was No Need to Hide When It's Dark Outside.
Yep.
I never played any of the other ones, but I want to play all those.
There's like 6 of them.
I
bought them all on Steam whenever the pandemic first hit.
Yeah.
And I would speed run them, and really, when you're an adult, they take like 5 minutes each. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, we have all the Freddy Fish games, and some of those are actually pretty challenging.
Yeah.
But especially for like kids, like I can see how kids could get hung up on them. But no, yeah, I want to just have a little bit more shared experiences like that. Moving on, go to a zoo. I don't know why, but I feel like Levi would be a blast to go to a zoo with. I mean, just look at that face. Like, that looks like a guy that knows how to have a good time at a zoo, don't you think?
Yeah. It's weird because like the second you said that, I was like, oh, dude, Levi would be great to go to a zoo.
He would. Yeah, he would be, wouldn't he?
But like, funnily enough, probably the worst person to go to an aquarium with. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Think about it. It's a joke. Shut up. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll have to think. I'm gonna think about it just because you told me not to. And lastly, this one I'm a little ashamed of. Want to tell him the truth about me giving Cody his new address so he could find him for the podcast. Oh, sorry, Levi.
You doxed Levi.
I did. Sorry, buddy. It happens. I'm ashamed. Don't blame the rest of the trading card committee. Blame me. All right, Trevor Smith. All right, let's go to a Michigan football game together. Trevor's a big Michigan fan. I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun to do that with him. Eat one last meal at Slim Chickens. Slim Chickens opened up really close to where we live, and Trevor introduced us to the amazement of Slim Chickens. Unofficial sponsor of the Party Room Film Festival official trading card committee, by the way.
It does make an appearance in the movie Offsides. It
does, yeah. Have him give me an eye examination and have him use all sorts of big words that I don't understand. I think Trevor would probably enjoy that just as much, if not more than I would. So, yeah, that would be fun. And lastly, I want to wrestle him and win. I think that would be quite the accomplishment. Especially like if I'm dying, like I'd probably be really weak and whatnot. So at my lowest point, if I'm able to wrestle him and win on my last day on Earth, I think that'd be pretty legendary.
Yeah.
All right, Matt Stice. Let's see. It's messing up again. Go on a photo film shoot with him and watch him work his magic and be in awe at what he does. As you guys know, Matt has such a good eye for these things. He's just super talented at it, and I love looking at all of his work. Want to watch the Bengals win the Super Bowl. Really, really hope that happens someday. I get to experience that with him. Doesn't look like it's going to be this year, unfortunately, but maybe one day. Maybe one day when I die. So hold on. Is this all lining up? Like this hockey season does take place like while the Super Bowl happens, right?
Oh yeah.
Like if I'm gonna watch
hockey starts in like August and ends in like April.
Okay, yeah. So like if I'm gonna watch a Lightning and Kraken game with you and watch the Bengals win the Super Bowl and go to a Michigan football game with Trevor, I think it all ends up because yeah, it does. They all overlap. So this is possible.
It's very possible.
Yeah. Let's see what's next. So I want to go halvesies and hire a private investigator to find the legendary Foozle from Rocket League and play them one more time. For those that don't know, Foozle was one of the online people that we played in Rocket League, like when we first started playing together, and to this day is probably still like the funniest name that we laugh at all the time. So it's a dream. It really is a dream of mine to play against Foozle with Matt one more time. And then lastly, I want to watch Terminator 2 again, but not the extended edition because that version stinks. We watched that one together, and he told me so much about how great Terminator 2 is and like how it's one of the best sequels of all time. And it may be, but we watched the extended edition, which he likes better than the original Terminator 2. But like it was just so slow, and it really just like it just made the pace of the movie real choppy. And afterwards, I was just like, I didn't really think that was all that much better than the first one. And then he was like, well, that was the extended edition. Like it admittedly isn't as good. Most people would say that. And I was like, well, then why did you talk it up so much and then show me the one that's not as good? So I had the same complaint about Andrew and Zach and Matt. When we went to Washington, D.C., we went and saw the new Indiana Jones movie in an IMAX theater. And I'd never been to an IMAX theater before. I'd never seen a movie in IMAX. So I was like, okay, like what's so special about IMAX, right? And they were like, man, like IMAX is so great. Like you get like this big screen, it's like a whole different like movie experience. Like it's going to be awesome. And I was like, okay, that'd be cool. And then, so we go watch Indiana Jones, and then it's like, the movie, like the picture is not even taking up the whole screen. And to me, it just felt like a normal movie experience. And then after we were done, they're like, well, what'd you think? What'd you think about the IMAX experience? And I was like, I mean, it just felt like a normal movie theater. And they're like, yeah, well, like this movie wasn't made to be shown in an IMAX theater. So like, why did we go see it in an IMAX theater when it's not like, why don't I go see a movie that's made for IMAX in an IMAX theater for my first one experience? Yeah. Anyway, I'll get off of that so we can move on to Aaron Winterowski. This picture is just kind of weird, but just with like the arm and everything coming out. So yeah, so my last day on Earth with Aaron, I want to have him take me to sign up to be an organ donor. Don't think I've done that. I don't know if that's something that he would have to take me to do, but
no, not really, but he should.
Yeah, he should, just so he can make sure that I'm giving all the right organs away. But yeah, I want to tell embarrassing stories about ourselves to each other. Some of the embarrassing stories that Aaron shares are really, really funny. So I just want to like trade embarrassing stories back and forth because I feel like that would just be a really good time. Next, I want to watch a really bad animated movie with him. Like, I don't know, maybe 2012's Food Fight and record his reaction. Do you know anything about this movie, Jacob?
I do not.
It's basically just like a huge advertisement for a bunch of different food brands, and they fight. And
Wait,
it's like,
yes,
yeah,
actually.
And it was like really bad. So I don't know if Aaron's seen it. I feel like he maybe has. I feel like he's at least probably heard of it. But he's the type of person that I'd want to watch this movie with and get his reaction because I think he would have a lot of great things to say about it. And then lastly, kind of back on the organ donor thing, I want to die while I'm with him and let him harvest my organs, only if he cuts me open like Dwight does to the dummy in that episode of The Office, including skinning my face and having him wear it. Yeah.
Oh, we'll just leave that. I don't have any comments.
No comments. Yeah.
We'll just let that ride.
Aaron, you should be honored that Aaron was the only one that I wanted to actually die with.
Aw.
Yeah, I feel like he'd know what to do with my organs. But yeah, that is the end of my show.
All right. That's the last slide. Okay, thank God.
That is the last slide. Yeah.
I was really like just dreading some type of like Which brings me to this last slide.
Yeah, I know that's.
I've got some
Sorry.
news, and I was like, oh gosh.
No. I know that's like I know some of those things are like really like personal to people. So
Yeah.
sorry, like if the rest of them that aren't you is like not as entertaining or if it's not as funny. But
No.
I think each individual slide will be as funny to the person that it's for, which is the intention. So
That was great, very unique. I loved it a lot. I do have like one question about it.
yep.
Actually, I guess, is Ellen still in the room?
Yeah, she's still here.
Hey, Ellen, what do you think about him wanting to spend all that time with us and not you?
It's pretty par for the course.
Oh, come on. Wow.
I'm kidding, honey.
Goodness.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
I have answered this question with Ellen before too.
Mhm.
My answer for what I'd want to do with her is whatever she'd wanted to do.
Get a 2-point conversion. Hey,
Heyo. Yeah. Get into the end zone, get that 2-point conversion going.